If these words have reached you now, it's not coincidence. Something within the fabric of reality has aligned to bring this message to your awareness. And the sooner you grasp why, the sooner everything around you can begin to shift. Perhaps you felt it, a quiet tension beneath the surface of things, a vague sense that something's not quite right. You may not have the words for it, but your body knows. A strange chill, a tightness in your chest, an unshakable feeling that change is looming imminent. And that shift isn't in the distant future. It's unfolding right now. The only question is, are you ready to hear what's been hidden? There's a truth that was never offered to you freely. A truth that, once seen, will forever alter the way you perceive the world. Let me offer this warning. Once your eyes are opened, they will not close again. But before we move deeper, I want you to pause. Can you feel it? That silence, not the absence of sound, but a stillness that has always been here, lying in the space between your thoughts, in the brief suspension between breaths, in the moment of hesitation before a choice is made. You may have missed it before most do, but it has never left your side. And that silence is not empty. Since the beginning, you've been trained to run from it, conditioned by noise, overwhelmed with responsibilities, fed a stream of constant stimulation, always something to solve, always something to scroll, always something to distract. But have you noticed that when all the noise stops, when the hum of the world fades, something unfamiliar stirs? A strange presence, like something ancient has been waiting there, quietly. You've tried to drown it out with distractions, with endless doing, but it persists. That silence isn't an accident. It's a threshold, a portal, an invitation. The ancients knew. They called this sacred stillness the voice of the gods, the whisper of the cosmos, the field from which all things emerge. It is not fantasy, it is not far away. It has always been here, always within reach. But to hear it, truly hear it, you must do the one thing modern life has taught you to avoid. Stop resisting. That's the challenge. Because resistance is all you've known. You fill the silence before it can speak. You race ahead before wisdom can catch up. But what if, just once, you didn't? Your mind will rebel. It will tell you this silence is a trap, a void, a place to fear. But what if it is none of those things? What if silence is the key? If you listen, really listen, you'll notice it has texture, presence, weight. It's not emptiness, it holds something sacred, a message, a memory, a path, one that only reveals itself when you finally stop filling the space and start receiving it. And now, this silence that brought you here begins to merge with a deeper realization. The world you thought you knew is changing. The old certainty crumbles. What was once stable now trembles. Time is accelerating. Wars erupt. Systems collapse. Nature revolts. You ask, has it always been this way? Or are we arriving at the threshold of something far more profound? You are not imagining things. This moment, this unraveling was foretold. The Mayans spoke of it, the Hindus, the Egyptians, the elders of forgotten tribes, they all knew. And now, so do you. The ancient tribes, the sages, even the prophets of old, whether biblical or indigenous, spoke of this moment not as the end of the world, but as the end of an era, a great transition, a breaking point between what has been and what must now emerge. They foretold of a time when all things hidden would come into light, when veils would be lifted and truth would no longer be a luxury but a necessity. That time, they said, would be marked not by destruction but by revelation. And now, before your very eyes, it's unfolding. The planet itself is changing. This is no longer just poetic language. It's scientific reality. Earth is moving through a photon-dense region of the galaxy, an energetic corridor unlike anything we've seen in millennia. This cosmic belt, rich in highly charged particles, is altering our planet's electromagnetic field, and that shift is reverberating through everything. From tectonic plates to the stratosphere, from ocean currents to magnetic poles, the Earth is awakening. But perhaps more importantly, so are we. Because this isn't just a planetary recalibration, it's a human one. You feel it, don't you? The dissonance in your daily life, the sudden discomfort with things that once felt normal, the sense that your mind is seeing through illusions you didn't even know were there. Jobs that once gave you meaning now feel empty. Relationships you once clung to now feel out of tune. Habits that once soothed you now drain your spirit. It's as though reality itself no longer fits, and that's not a malfunction. That's the message. What if this isn't a collapse at all? What if it's an initiation? The ancients spoke of the wheat being separated from the chaff not as a punishment, but as a purification. The earth entering a new cycle after a period of chaos. These weren't metaphors, they were warnings. They were maps, and we are walking them now. But here's the deeper truth. What we see on the outside, wars, disasters, unrest, is only a shadow of something more fundamental. Something that doesn't begin in geopolitics or headlines. It begins in vibration, because the earth isn't just a rock floating in space. It is a sentient, pulsing organism intertwined with the greater symphony of the cosmos. And what affects the cosmos affects the earth, and what affects the earth moves through you. Scientists speak of the photon belt, a dense band of cosmic energy. As Earth moves through it, its energy field is being saturated, intensified. This isn't fantasy. This is astrophysics, and this infusion of energy isn't just stirring volcanoes and weather patterns. It's activating something within us. Because you, too, are electromagnetic. You, too, are energy. And energy doesn't lie. You may have already felt the tremors, an inexplicable sensitivity, a sharper emotional response, a growing discomfort with things that once felt comfortable. It's all connected. This new frequency exposes anything that doesn't resonate. Old beliefs, toxic attachments, self-sabotaging behaviors. They can't stay. They must dissolve. And this transformation, it's not optional. You don't get to vote on it. You only choose how you move through it. Will you resist and remain bound to a world that is disintegrating? Or will you rise and align with the higher frequency that is calling? Look around. The chaos you see is not random. It is the physical echo of a collective dissonance, an inner crisis made visible. The wars, the conflict, the ecological destruction, these are not just the products of politics or fate. They are the reflection of a fractured consciousness. The outer world is a mirror, and it reflects back exactly what lies within the soul of humanity. If we see fear, it's because we've been living in it. If we see division, it's because we've become divided within ourselves. And now, the mirror is cracking. This truth has echoed through every ancient spiritual tradition. Across continents and generations, wise teachers have always said the same thing. Reality is not fixed. It bends not to force or fate, but to belief. Yet for centuries we were told the opposite, that the world is unchangeable, that the rules are set in stone, that what is simply is and will always be. But what if that's the illusion? What if the prison we're trapped in is made not of steel bars, but of collective belief? Let me tell you a story. Deep within an ancient forest, two bird clans lived side by side. On one side, the crows sharp, calculating, and forever on edge. They believed the world was filled with hidden dangers. Their mantra was simple: be ready. The forest is cruel. Survival is war. On the other side lived the nightingales, graceful, melodic, and deeply trusting. They believed in the forest's abundance, waking each day in song, sure that food and shelter would greet them just as the sun did. While the crows scanned the woods for threats, the nightingales wandered freely, discovering new streams and tasting fruits the crows never knew existed. Then one day, a great storm came. The forest shook with thunder. Winds toppled trees, and for a while, it seemed the world itself was falling apart. The crows huddled in their nests, whispering, "We were right. This place is dangerous. It's only going to get worse." But when the nightingales emerged after the rain, they saw something different. Where old trees had fallen, sunlight now reached the forest floor, awakening seeds long dormant. New water channels carved their way through the soil, bringing fresh nourishment to dry places. "Look," they said, "the forest is healing." The storm didn't destroy it, transformed. The forest hadn't changed. The storm was the same for both groups, but one saw ruin and the other saw rebirth. That's how reality works. What you choose to believe becomes what you see. Believe the world is breaking, and you will find evidence of collapse. Believe a path is opening, and signs of renewal will appear. So imagine, what if we did this together? What if, collectively, we chose to shift our lens? What if instead of feeding fear, we nurtured new visions? Instead of expecting disaster, we began building possibility. Human consciousness is a vibrational field. Every thought, every belief, every emotion radiates outward, rippling into the fabric of reality. And now, more than ever, that vibration is being tested. The real question is, when the storm comes, will you see destruction or renewal? To build a new world, to pierce the illusion, we must confront the greatest lie ever told: that you are small, that your life is insignificant, that your voice is just one among billions, destined to be drowned out by the noise. Since childhood, you were taught to follow, not question, to blend in, not stand out. They told you greatness was reserved for a chosen few, and that you were not one of them. But what if none of that is true? What if your very existence is proof of purpose? Look around. No two stars burn exactly alike. No tree grows with the same pattern of branches. No fingerprint has ever been repeated. The universe doesn't waste its energy making duplicates. It crafts uniqueness, and you are no exception. You've always known this deep down. That stirring in your soul, that quiet rebellion in your heart. It's not arrogance, it's remembrance. That sharp perception you've always carried, an instinct that something greater exists beyond what you've been told, is not a mistake. You've tried to quiet it, tried to blend in, tried to silence the calling, but none of it worked. Did it? Because you weren't meant to fit into this world. You were meant to help reshape it. And that is exactly why fear rises when you begin awakening to your power. Not because you're broken, not because something is wrong, but because something is changing radically, irreversibly. Here's what most people never understand. Fear is not the enemy of transformation. It is the signpost, the tremble before flight, the child's first trembling step, the hesitation before diving into the unknown. That electric feeling in your gut doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're evolving. Fear appears when the old self is about to dissolve, when the old world begins to crack open so a new one can emerge. And right now, you stand at a threshold. You can turn back. You can convince yourself the timing isn't right, that it's too risky, too uncertain, too late. Or you can step forward into the unknown, into the current, into your becoming. The shift is already underway. It's not going to pause until you feel ready, because the truth is, no one ever truly feels ready. But those who cross the threshold anyway, who choose courage over comfort, discover a freedom few will ever taste. On the other side of fear is a reality forged by truth, by presence, by conscious creation. But to cross this portal, understanding isn't enough. Inspiration isn't enough. You must act, and that action doesn't begin on the outside. It starts within, with how you think, how you feel, how you respond to life. Every conscious choice, no matter how small, sends ripples through the field of reality. A single honest word, a brave decision in a moment of doubt, a thought aligned with the highest frequency of who you really are. We wait for grand gestures, for signs in the sky. But maybe the true revolution is quiet, subtle, built in silence, choice, by those who dare to live in alignment. And you're not alone. That ache you feel, that whisper that refuses to fade, is being felt by countless others across the globe. Without ever meeting, you're connected, kindred souls waking up from the same dream, pulled by the same knowing. Maybe you felt it before, an instant connection, an unspoken recognition. It wasn't logical, it wasn't mental, it was soul deep. The awakening isn't isolated, it's spreading. Each soul that remembers sparks a flame, and when enough flames rise together, the darkness cannot hold. That's what's happening now. The whisper is becoming a roar. The path is no longer solitary, it's a shared movement. But even now, at this point in your journey, there is one decision only you can make. Now that you've heard, now that you've felt, now that this truth has echoed inside you, what will you do with it? Because knowing without action is just another burden, another truth ignored, another missed chance to become who you were always meant to be. Another wasted possibility. That's what it becomes if you turn away now. You can keep waiting for change to find you, or you can choose to become the change itself. You can close this message and pretend it didn't find you for a reason, or you can acknowledge the truth. This is your call. And if you don't yet know where to begin, start here, start with now. Because the doorway into a higher life is always through the present moment. And these two simple but powerful practices can help tune your mind, your body, and your spirit to the new frequency that's already unfolding around you. The first is the practice of active gratitude. Gratitude isn't just a warm sentiment, it's a vibrational force capable of transmuting perception. When you focus on what's already good, even in small doses, your brain rewires itself to notice opportunities instead of obstacles. But this only works when gratitude becomes a daily ritual, not a passing thought. Every morning when you wake, or every night before you rest, open a notebook and write down 3 things you're genuinely grateful for. Nothing grand is required. The aroma of morning coffee, the smile of someone you love, the way the breeze gently passed your skin today. The secret lies in feeling it. Don't just write. Close your eyes. Recall the moment. Let the emotion swell in your chest. Let it anchor in your body. Neuroscience already confirms it. Gratitude lowers stress, strengthens the immune system, and enhances sleep. But more than that, it shifts your frequency, and the universe never responds to what you merely want. It responds to what you vibrate. The second practice is conscious observation, a practice as simple as it is forgotten. We live distracted, reactive, fragmented checking phones before even checking in with ourselves. But the truth is, life never exists in the past, nor does it unfold in the future. It only ever breathes through the now. Worry is born from the future. Pain is anchored in the past. But peace lives in the present, and conscious observation is the key to unlocking it. Choose a moment today, any moment, and simply observe. Drinking water, feel its temperature, taste its subtleties. Walking outdoors, hear the sounds and feel the air. Watch the play of light and movement around you. Your only task is to witness it. And every time your mind wanders back to stress, gently return it to now. This practice rewires your nervous system. It clears the fog. It awakens what you didn't know you'd been missing. Because the more you become present, the more you start to see what's always been there: answers, insights, signs. The gentle whispers of the universe no longer pass you by. And so here you are. The choice, as it has always been, rests with you, to carry this forward or to let it fade. But before you go, I've prepared something special, an invitation to take this journey even deeper. A video where everything you've just absorbed becomes practical, applicable, real. Click it now. Don't hesitate. I'll meet you there. On the other side of this screen lies the next chapter, the one where you remember how powerful you truly are.